Hey there, everybody. Welcome once again to another episode of What's Hot with Sea Tranquility. I'm your host, Pete Pardo. Today is Monday, November the 19th. We got another new product showcase edition here today. Got a lot of new stuff. Wanted to kind of break things out instead of doing one big long episode. Wanted to kind of, lump a few together and do a few of them. Less time spent, right? But still good stuff that you're learning about. That's the whole thing. So got a couple pretty cool releases, a couple little local things. A couple kind of more jazz, prog type of releases. The first one I want to talk about, this is a live album from a friend of mine. Hopefully you've seen him here on our YouTube channel recently. I actually went to his place of business, a great place called the Brewery at Orange County Hops in Walden, New York. My friend Mike Antonelli and his friends. The album is called Live Sessions. This is a brand new live release which culls together two recordings or songs from two live recordings. One from a bunch of tunes taken from the Barn in Liberty, New York, from a performance in 2016. The other half of the CD are performances taken from a show that Mike and his friends did at his establishment at the Brewery at Orange County Hops earlier this year. There's a picture of some of the guys. It's a great selection of Mike Antonelli's signature songs that he's recorded over the course of his career. He's a wonderful sax player. So we got sax and bass and drums, keyboards, guitar on here a little bit. You got some percussion. Joe Lovano, the famous Joe Lovano. For those of you fusion fans who have followed maybe John Scofield's career, you know that Joe Lovano has played sax alongside Scofield quite often over the years. He's actually a friend of Mike's, and he appears also on a track or two on here, which is kind of cool. Also, if you get the CD, I wrote the liner notes here, which is pretty cool. So a wonderful, wonderful album of really cool, classic sounding jazz. If you love the bebop era or the post-bop era, I think you'll really dig this. Really memorable songs. Mike's just got a great way for writing melodies, which is fantastic. And I just can't recommend this highly enough. So if you love jazz at all, especially classic sounding jazz, but if you want to hear a really cool modern combo doing some really, really great tunes, I highly recommend this. Highly recommend it. All right, let's go over to the Moon June Records roster. Leonardo and Company always pump out some really cool albums from artists from all over the world. This is from Xavi, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, Xavi Reija, The Sound of the Earth. Okay. This is pretty savage stuff, folks. So with him on this, he's got, and let me just kind of read off the... In fact, I'll put on my glasses for this because I want to make sure I'm saying everything correctly. So, Xavi's on drums. We got, of course, Tony Levin on bass guitar, upright bass, and stick. We got Marcus Reuter on touch guitar, and Dusan Jeftovic on electric guitar. Now, if that lineup doesn't sound formidable enough, well, you obviously haven't been paying attention to Moon June's albums over the last couple of years. I think you really need to check this out. This is great stuff. If you're like a King Crimson fan, or if you like the great Terje Ripdahl, savage interplay, crazy guitar riffs and solos, crazy rhythms, a lot of groove, just a really, really intense album that I think if you like adventurous instrumental music that kind of bridges the gap between jazz fusion and avant-garde and progressive rock, I think you'll really, really dig this a lot. Very, very good stuff. Again, it's called The Sound of the Earth. Kind of along similar lines, okay? This is the band called Sonar, live at Moods. Okay? This was recorded in, this is a Swiss band, recorded in Zurich, Switzerland, back in May of this year, 2018, at the Moods Jazz Club. We got here, let me read the lineup here, special guest on this album as well. So Stefan Fellin on tritone guitar, Bernhard Wagner also on tritone guitar, Christian Kuntner on tritone bass, and Manuel Pasquinelli on drums with special guest on electric guitar and live loops, Mr. David Torn. Okay, another pretty cool album. We've reviewed some of the Sonar stuff in the past. Very, very cool band. They also kind of do this, think of very early 80s King Crimson. So they do a lot of this kind of like the Baloo and Fripp way, the weaving guitar interplay with the hypnotic rhythms and you know, everything just kind of really makes sense. Very melodic, kind of spacey. But here in a live format, they kind of take things to a new level. So things are pretty aggressive on here at times. Mr. Torn adds his textures and his loops, and there's even a track here where he's all by himself, and it's pretty damn savage. I hate to keep using the savage term, but you know, if you're a Torn fan, you know that sometimes he can sound pretty monstrous, and he does. But they're very, very cool, fun, like I said, hypnotic, intense, complex, intricate collection of songs here, but still atmospheric at the same time. Really, really cool. Live at Moods. Check that out. All right. Over to Cleopatra Records. We've got a guy who probably most people had forgotten about, a guitar player, multi-instrumentalist who kind of hit it, I wouldn't say he hit it big, but made a pretty big name for himself back in the late 60s, early 70s as like a teenage guitar wizard in the kind of R&B and blues scene. Guy named Shuggie Otis, recorded with a bunch of people, and he kind of disappeared like after the 70s. But a few years back, he started getting back into music, put a solo band together, playing some gigs out on the road, whatever, but got contacted by Cleopatra Records to record another solo album with help from Carmine Appice, the legendary Carmine Appice on drums, Tony Franklin on bass, and I don't want to forget him because he also plays a big part here, Kyle Hamoud on keyboards. I believe Kyle also helped with the production of the album. This is a pretty damn good album. Shuggie Otis, it's called Interfusion, mostly instrumental. If I could describe this at all, it reminds me a lot of the early 70s Jeff Beck group. I'm talking about the Jeff Beck group with Bob Tench and Cozy Powell. Max Middleton, I believe, played it as well. That kind of like funky guitar, bluesy, jazzy type of rock thing. Pretty tasty soloing and riffs from Shuggie on here. Awesome. You know, sometimes you forget just how great Tony Franklin is. You know, between the stuff he did with The Firm and Blue Murder, and he's played with a whole bunch of people, man, his bass playing is awesome on here. And, of course, Carmine thundering away. A lot of really cool keyboard textures, too, on here. Hammond organ, electric piano, really, really good stuff. This surprised the hell out of me. I really like this a lot. Very, very cool. Again, also little bits of like Jeff Beck's guitar shop type of thing. So a lot of times I listen to this and I think of like vintage instrumental Jeff Beck. So if that sounds intriguing, check this out. Very, very cool album. Last but not least, another local act. I know the guitar player in this band. They're a Hudson Valley modern rock / blues rock / heavy rock act. The Playback. Prophets and Thieves is their brand new EP, just like their self-titled one that came out last year. Just 4 songs on here. I think I like this one a little bit better. You know, they kind of appeal to the alternative rock crowd, and their vocalist has a very accessible singing style that I think will reach some younger audiences. But I think the nuts and bolts of the music is firmly rooted on like cool 70s and early 80s hard rock with a little bit of the maybe Seattle scene thrown in. So a lot of cool riffs from Mike Prizzi on lead guitar. He does some really darker stuff on here, I think. A lot of cool wah-wah guitar solos. Memorable tunes, though, with plenty of groove and nice, heavy, thumping riffs. Dig this. 4 songs. Check them out. Go online. Check them out. Listen to some of their stuff. I believe they got a Bandcamp page. And see what you think. And if you like it, go download it on iTunes or whatever. Or buy them off of Bandcamp. Pretty cool stuff. If you're here in the Hudson Valley, go check them out live someday. Also, visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on the Mighty YouTube as often as possible. We've got some, what do we got? History of Judas Priest coming up this week. We've got, I'm going to try and squeeze in the history of Grand Funk Railroad this week. I got some rants cooking. I got some best of things. So much stuff on the plate. So over the course of the next couple weeks, I'm trying to get to as many of them as I possibly can. Also some deep cuts on classic albums. I should have a couple of those for you tomorrow. So until then, take care, guys. See you real soon. Bye.